Welcome everyone, it's Evelyn from Twin Flames 3344. I'm so excited to tell you this reading. It was really amazing to go through this, so I wanted to share going through this with you. This is my union read. It is usually 16 cards because I have the 3D, 4D, and 5D, the feminine, the bridge, and the divine masculine. This is the feminine because the feminine comes in, and this is the masculine because the masculine goes out, okay? And then this is the underlying energy. The King of Cups is there. And then I added a 17th card today. It's usually like my E-Tower read, right? Because it's 16 cards. I added the 17th card today as like a culmination, a summary. So the star or the union is the summary of the E-Tower. And this one's going to be called The Lighthouse in the Storm and the Olive Branch. And it's coming up as season 37 and episode 144. So here we go, guys, and I will go in a little bit closer on some of the cards so you can see them better as I go, but I need to read it because there's a lot of stuff that came in that I would forget. So for those of you who don't know me, I do have a little bit of cognitive issues. I was hit by a car jogging a few years back, so my recall isn't as good as most people. Plus, I'm getting there. I'm 58 years old, so my recall isn't the best. So please bear with me. Today is February 24th, 2020. The 2 is the High Priestess. The 24 of the day is the Queen of Wands. It's also the end of karma. It's the end of the Greek alphabet. And you notice the 24 is also 12 and 12, which then for me takes me back to 12, 21, 12. And the day adds up to 30 today, which is the Union card, the 4 of Wands, which is actually present in our 3D right here in the middle as the bridge. Okay, so this is the union spread. The 24 of the Queen of Wands is very dynamic, sexy, popular energy, very physical. Desire is represented there as well, and movement. The 24 is a 6 of love, family, and community. It's the 4 of the 24 being very stable. 4 is the manifestation on a basic level. So basically survival instincts, more like the root chakra energy. So the 4 is those lower level manifestations of survival here. And then the 2 is the High Priestess or the feminine energy. So a very practical, stable nature underlying this more feminine, intuitive energy on the outside, coming out as the 6, which is the love, family, and community. And then the day adding up to the 30, which is a 3, but it's also the 4 of Wands. The 3 is of coming together, socializing, happy-go-lucky, expressing yourself authentically. It's the 0 really backing up the number 3. It's also Gaia of the 3, and just joy, right? So we have the 24 of the end of karma and the 30 of union and joy. Okay, and the Queen of Wands for me also in this deck, the SIRIAN Starseed deck in front of you, represents the third energy, the trigger, the fire, the drama that comes in, right, in order to trigger you to clear your wounds, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so really cool stuff came up in this union read, so please stay tuned. It's not your typical union read, and it's really, really cool today. So I started this at 9:57, which is the 9 of the Hermit, and the 57 of the 3 of Swords, which is in the center of the read today. And today was the first day I used that 17th card. It's usually the E-Tower, the 16 card read. So the union, okay. So the underlying energy is the King of Cups over here, okay. And the center card is the 3 of Swords here in the SIRIAN Starseed deck. And so that's referencing unconditional love and that lighthouse in a storm, but also separation, because the 3 of Swords is about separation. But in this particular card, and I will pick it up just so you can see it more closely here. I want you to really see the details of this card because this is the center of the read. You see it's very calm out there. It's like a lighthouse being shown, right? The light in the dark, but it's coming out naturally, right? So it's your guidance, your inner guidance system, your guides showing you the way, with lightning coming in as well. There's 3 orbs represented here, and then of course the earth here with the plants. Okay, and it has kind of a beachy feel as well. But the water is very calm. And this is like, this can also represent like a spaceship shining their light on the water as well. However you take it is fine, okay? All right, so that's the Three of Orbs, which the SIRIAN Starseed deck is orbs for swords, crystals for pentacles, chalices for cups, and then the wands are flames. So with this unconditional love and the lighthouse in the storm, as well as separation, so it's like, again, the explosion and implosion happening simultaneously. That's what creates the vacuum. And then here's the lighthouse in the storm with the separation at the same time. So pulling you in and pushing you out. You get where I'm going here. So the underlying divine feminine here, which is the Ace of Swords, and I'm going to leave that there just as it is so you can see the message, because when they're covered, it brings in a new message. So we have the Ace of Swords here, or orbs. This is the Great Wheel, or the Destiny card, right? And in this card, there's an atom in the middle. And then we have the Seven of Swords here, or orbs, which in this deck is very different because it's about passing on downloads, right? And it also can reference the Wizard of Oz with the wizard up in the balloon. So the underlying divine feminine energy coming into the read, the Ace of Swords, the Great Wheel, the Wheel of Fortune, and then the Seven of Swords. So truth and purpose, and there's a porpoise in this read. There's also another card, or more than one card, that has the dolphin in it. So the difference between the dolphin and the porpoise, but they're very similar. So just like we can be very opposite and the same at the same time, the same and yet different. So truth and purpose for the feminine in her destiny, right? The Great Wheel of Fortune, and taking a risk, passing downloads. And the truth shall set you free came up for me from those three cards. In the 3D, here where we have this is the Page of Pentacles, okay? But you see very much they're looking at their abilities and how, you know, they can discover their abilities more so. But it's just so you can see the details in this card. Okay. Okay. I'm not going to pick up the Four of Flames just because it's the stone is there and you can really see most of the details from here, but I'll point them out to you. So the Page of Pentacles for the divine feminine, there's the 3D energy, discovering her new abilities as we're reaching the equinox. Is it spring equinox? I believe I always get them confused, but you know. And I want to tell you also before I start here that last year at this time I was getting really major downloads here at the end of February, coming as we approach into March, or the spring equinox. So, like I said, be open, listen, really open up your ears and your heart to get your messages, because some major downloads come in at this time of the year. Because after all, we're going from winter to spring. It's going from the death to the rebirthing process. So there's a lot of energy here. So in the feminine discovering her new abilities, as we're getting major downloads coming in and always more energy portals are coming in, we bridge to the divine masculine, who is coming up as the indigo energy. And I will show you that one because it's kind of far away. All right, that's the indigo. And he's definitely got like a big diamond there, right? So crystal energy, and he's looking right at you, all right? So he is present here in the 3D. Young, but present. So bridging the indigo masculine with an offer or a proposal we bridge each other by the Four of Wands, which is the home, the castle, the 3D union, the drawbridge. Okay, and that can literally represent a bridge as well, with the number 4, which can be the Emperor. So in the surrender card in this deck, there's a masculine holding up a crystal and a crystal ball, separately from the cards that are out here on the table. But today, the divine feminine literally is holding up the ball on her side in the 3D, and the divine masculine is holding up the crystal diamond on his side. And that's literally the surrender card for the masculine, where he's holding them both up to the gods and saying, please, you know, guide the way for me. How do I choose, right? So he's seeing you, he's facing forward right at you and proposing, and the feminine seeing new abilities and curious about those new abilities, and bridging the two by the Four of Wands, which, by the way, guys, is today. Today adds up to the 30, which is the Four of Wands. Divine timing with the divine feminine wheel, right? So the feminine has the Wheel of Fortune over here, which is divine timing. So then I was getting, where was it that I was getting exactly? I was getting divine masculine saying, forgive me. And then Steve and Miranda were coming up from being on the bridge. I'm sure most of you have seen Sex and the City. And when the episode when Steve and Miranda come back together after he cheated on her, they decide to meet in the middle of the Brooklyn Bridge to either decide to break up or forgive each other at that moment and then let go of the past. Okay? So divine masculine's coming up as saying, forgive me, as Steve and Miranda on the bridge, and the divine spirit's connecting with me. And the divine feminine is saying, what does my crystal ball say? All right, so this is the meeting on the bridge. Here's the bridge. Here's the masculine saying, please forgive me. And here's the feminine looking in her crystal ball and saying, what should I say? Should I consult my inner guidance? Or do I already know the answer? So the meet on the bridge, which is also at 10:10 when the cat shows up today again. And the cat plays a very special part in our read today in a turn for the better at 10:10, which is also the 20 of the final judgment coming in. And that came up yesterday in the read as well. So 10:10, two different Wheel of Fortunes, divine timing on both parts, a turn for the better. And they add up to the 20, which is the final judgment in the middle of the Brooklyn Bridge. As the cat comes to my house again, which for those of you who haven't been tuning in, the cat's been at my house all week, coming and going, meowing, 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 circling around my house constantly, and we have no idea what they want. And I'm assuming it's a girl cat because last week, or possibly the week before, I don't know how long it's been going on exactly, I opened the door because there was so much moaning going on. I thought a cat was being killed when they were probably actually, it's mating season. So I looked out my back door one day and there was the cat, one cat which I think I'm more familiar with a much bigger cat. It was much bigger. So I assumed that the smaller cat was female and the larger cat was bigger. And the smaller one was definitely having nothing to do with it, where the larger cat was trying to intimidate them. So today, ever since that moment, I've never seen the big cat again. Only the smaller cat keeps coming around, meowing, meowing, meowing. And my son told me today that the cat was under the porch. And I said, well, the only reason the cat would go under there is for protection. So it's either from nature, so it's too cold or windy or the elements, whatever it is, or perhaps the cat has some babies or something that nobody knows about under the porch. So take a look. So I had him just take a look and make sure nothing was going on out there. And why was the cat still meowing? So last night we also put a little bit of milk out for the cat just to make sure they weren't hungry. So still, I haven't seen the cat since that day when I saw them out back. I hear them meowing constantly, but every time I look out a window, I see they're nowhere to be found, and it's definitely Where's Waldo and a ghosting situation. So then the 4D. The 4D is the divine feminine world. She's got the world in her right hand here, okay? I got the whole world in his hands, right? So that energy is coming up. The divine feminine with the world in her right hand. And notice that the crystal ball is also in her right hand. But in the 4D here at 10:12, again, the cat started meowing. 10 is the Wheel of Fortune, 12 is the Hangman. Hung out to dry or just hanging out. So the divine feminine with the world in her right hand, and so is the crystal ball. And the bridge of the divine masculine, or to the divine masculine, who is expressing their feelings and energy exchange, and arrows of love. This card is all about fast-paced energies going back and forth. It's definitely the energetic exchange between the masculine and feminine. It's also expressing feelings and arrows of love, fast-paced communications, and travel back and forth, okay? So the divine masculine expressing his feelings and energetic exchange, arrows of love through the storm, right? Because she's the lamppost or the guide through the storm, the lighthouse. Exchanging arrows of love through the storm under lightning and thunder, or in other words, Michael and Metatron. So for those of you who know me, and say hi to my son coming home. Hi. They can't really see you. So I don't think he has a problem with being seen, but just so he would know. So for those of you who don't know me really well, Metatron and Michael are lightning and thunder. This is the guidance they've given me, and they're very funny about it, actually. So Michael is lightning and Metatron is thunder. He is the sound. So under M and M also comes up Mary Magdalene. So today they were telling me it's Mary Magdalene and her wingmen. All right, so her wings are coming up as Michael and Metatron, her wingmen. I love that. Each of her wings, Michael and Metatron. Michael creates the light show, the guiding light, right, because he guides the feminines, the lighthouse, the ship out in the storm, while Metatron, who guides the masculines, is the sound of silence. Shh, not a word. Michael and the divine feminine reach out with a need to listen carefully for the sound as the divine masculine is hiding out, unable to contain himself as a surprise is looming, right? So for those of you may not have heard a word or recently just a ghosting situation, and it can represent the masculine ghosting, just not being around, or the masculine getting ghosted in his environment, and thus then the feminine gets ghosted by the masculine, but it's not what you think. So at 10:37 to 38, which is again the 10 of the Wheel of Fortune, and 37 and 38 are the King and Queen of Cups. My son came in and told me, or I asked him, he woke up and I was asking him his perspective on this read as the masculine, and he was seeing peace and growth and big things coming from the Tower. And then the Tower, he was saying, is something big. And then as soon as he said that, it clicked to me. So something big is coming, but she's still thinking about it. That's what he said. Now that she has her financial freedom or sovereignty, will she take the risk to share without losing herself, her stability, or her freedom? So this is her question here. Okay, so we haven't gotten there in the read yet, but as my son came in, he was looking at these three cards and then these guys. So for me, then it was great getting his perspective, because it was really clarifying the fact, does the divine feminine trust herself? Now that she's got it all together as the sovereign in her purity, with her wisdom always close by with her guides, she has a big bin of crystals here, right? So she has all she needs. However that is represented in your life, it doesn't mean wealth. It can just mean abundance. Maybe you have family support, maybe you have community support, or just you have a great job, or maybe you are financially abundant. But you are in your sovereignty. You don't need anyone anymore. You've now learned how to be happy with yourself. So at this point, when she is in white, with the owl also being white, in that purity, can you be that pure? Because you've made that in the 3D to 4D, but can you sustain it as we go to 5D, where there's transparency? Okay, so your body becomes more light and more transparent, and the crystals in her bin there are very transparent. Can you maintain full transparency, or at least mostly transparent, and still be authentic to yourself without giving in to the other, without losing yourself? Right? Does she trust herself with her guidance always close by? She and the owl are pure, solid white and natural, but the crystals are semi-transparent. So can she go there fully? At 10:37 to 38, my son said that the cat likes our deck, because the cat was back. Because the deck is coming up like the drawbridge, and the cat was going under the deck for safety from the cold and the wind, like the Mary Magdalene cave. And it also can be like the bat cave, where the masculine's heart is, right? So then it was like a aha moment for me at 10:49, which is the Wheel of Fortune, and the 49 of the 9 of Cups, the Get Your Wish card, talking about the cat and big things happening. I realized two things. There is in the reads lately, I keep seeing the masculine camped outside the divine feminine's house. But I'm like, so is the masculine literally spying around someone's house, which some of them may be, but it's, it's just supposed to be a comparison, a bridge or a code to get you where you need to go as far as the messages. So then I realized the cat, that I keep seeing the cat as a female cat because the bigger one had left. But then I realized at this aha moment that the cat is a man, right? You call him that fat cat. He's a man. The cat is a man. He's the divine masculine hanging out outside my house, asking to come in. So literally this cat's been whining, circling my house day and night, off and on, like it'll go away and then it'll come back again, circling my house, meowing, 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 but never being seen, asking basically in the etheric realms, can I come in? So these have to do with the trust issues between the masculine and feminine, and also the big aha was coming in because there's a big download, but this was also then coming back to Sex and the City with Carrie and Big. So at 10:59, I was getting cat, man, do. Cat, man, not woman, and do. Or in other words, coming up at 10:59, the 11th hour, or the bridge moment, lying out on the deck today, the cat, man, do. I cat, I man, I do. So I left milk out last night, or asked my son to do it because he was telling me about the cat, and I'm like, well, you know, leave some milk out just in case. We don't know if there's something wrong. We hadn't found them in a tree. We wanted to make sure the cat was okay. And the milk was gone today, bringing in the wild horse one step at a time again, right? How do you tame a wild horse? They won't come near you initially. So you leave out some food or whatever it is they like and allow them to come to it without you there in order to learn to trust you one step at a time. The bigger cat was a man that he was battling with, or it could be a dark energy mother, or just a feminine who's got a lot more balls than the masculine, all right? So this bigger cat was bossing the masculine around. So the bigger cat was representing the man he was battling with, or the masculine feminine who he was with, or who ghosted him. And now he's been searching for them, thus ghosting the feminine. So if someone ghosted the masculine, he's now circling around and around looking for them, which looks like he's ghosting the feminine, but he's actually just looking for whoever was ghosting him. But it's not what it looks like, right? Because of that. He's just looking for this either his wingman or his counterpart or his dark mother energy, and he will be back. Or someone might have passed away on him, and so he's searching himself, right? Like Waldo. Where's Waldo? Where'd he go? Well, he needed to be by himself to process that. And then I was getting cat got your tongue. Perhaps his wingman took off and now he must perform without him, right? Batman and Robin. Well, if the Robin's getting busy to get ready for spring as they're coming out, his wingman may have left him because that's literally Metatron. Metatron's in charge of the divine masculines. So if his right-hand man has left him now because he has to go out on his own and do it for the first time and Spirit's connecting with me, at 11:07, this was happening. 11 is Justice and 7 is the Chariot. He needs to now go on his own. So this can even reference to like maybe a masculine's friend was going to go with him to first speak to the divine feminine, but then his wingman couldn't go with him or backs out on him and he has to do it alone. All right, so at 11:08, and that definitely relates more to the big cat because 11:07 is more soft. That's the Chariot, right? It's the inner world. And then we go to the 8, which is the big business and strength outer world of big dreams and manifestation here in our realm. The big cat comes up again as Metatron, the wingman, the ballsy female, or females who rejected you, or the collective of females who disappointed you. So whoever or whatever ghosted you in the past or recently, whatever the theme is of your life right now, the divine masculine who used to speak for you or do your dirty work for you, and that can be a mother as well, or a friend, whatever it is, will ghost the right-hand man, the best friend, to help you come talk to the divine feminine. No one is here now to help you, divine masculine, but then you know everything mirrors to the divine feminine in a different way every time. So at 11:11, no one is here to help you, divine masculine. You must speak on your own behalf and trust yourself. So it's all about trust today. And Sex and the City is definitely a big theme in this read today. So that's at 11:11, to trust yourself. If you don't trust yourself to speak on your own behalf, then who is ever going to trust you, right? If you can't trust yourself to do your own bidding, right? And a lot of the masculines have found a way to get everybody else in their life to do things for you, right? The easy way out, because everyone likes them, so they do things for them. They want their attention, right? So it's not to say that masculine doesn't do too much. It's just saying he also knows how to get people to do things for him. But then people, when you start using people in that way, then they start not trusting you, and then they start ghosting you. So this is kind of the energy that's happening here. That energy comes up again at the end of the read. So at 11:12, which is Justice and the Hanged Man, Miranda said to Big, remember, you're crazy to get married, right? And that's what messed up Big and Carrie's wedding, because Miranda said you're crazy to get married because she was pissed at Steve, who couldn't get the idea of how hurtful it was. And it wasn't about the sex, it was about the trust issues. How could she ever trust him again? He betrayed her. So the problem was here is that Big trusted Miranda, an outside source, over his own heart, his fears, right? She triggered his own fears. But then Steve and Miranda made up on the bridge, and Carrie just wanted a walk-in closet and a full deck or moat, a cushion, an old apartment. But that's why Big said you need a diamond. You need something to seal the deal, something unbreakable, a diamond in the rough that's now polished, because it's a promise that he'll do better, but one step at a time. And Spirit's connecting major at 11:17, which is Justice and the Star card, and now today the 17 card read. The building blocks, one crystal step at a time. 7, in a 2-step or 2 steps at a time, right? Alternating, so not jumping 2 steps or skipping steps, but literally the masculine stepping on 1 step and the feminine's at the next step, right? The divine feminine and masculine always slightly off key, just a little, to expand, grow, bloom, flower, day by day, moment before the hour, or the minute men in the 11th hour of divine timing, the 12th hour or midnight. And then the midnight train to Georgia was coming up again. As the coach turns into a chariot in Cinderella, right? The coach would turn back to the pumpkin, but in this case it turns back into the chariot or the walk-in closet. Okay, so the coach or the chariot, or it turns back into a chariot or the walk-in closet that she wanted so much after the facts of life in the 13th hour or the transition through the portal. So remember, the 12 is the end, but the death isn't really there until after the 12th hour, the midnight hour. And the 12 is a mysterious number because it is the final hour. So, and we'll get into that in a second too, all right? So we have the 11th hour of the minute before the hour, the 12, right, of midnight, when the clock strikes midnight, and then the 13th hour is just after the fact, right? So then we're coming up as 13th hour being the transition through the portal. So transition I was guided to break down, which is Trey, T-R-A. So here we are in Sex and the City, and Spirit is very clever. So how does Trey fit in all this? So it's Trey, N-S-I-T, and then I-O-N, and I-O-N is connection. So Trey in a sit position, sitting out. It also references the nervous system, no surrender, NS. Not statistically significant. A new series, these are all NS's. When Harry met Sally, can't get it up because he's with the wrong person who just looks right or looks the part. So that was Trey and Charlotte. So again, NS was natural selection and no surrender were very significant here, but it also means not clinically significant or not significant. So Trey shows the transition of the false twin. Not ready to clear their wounds and sexual trauma, right? Trey had a lot of issues. He was still tied to his mother's apron strings, losing Charlotte, causing him to see what he took for granted, but needed to separate in order to see what he took for granted and move on, while Charlotte becomes a Jew so she can marry Harry. the man she would never have seen herself with, hairy, bald, and sweaty, as she said, the hairy, bald, and sweaty Jew, who is her twin in transition. As Trey grows and he disconnects from his controlling dark mother, a new him. So he grows too, but it's just not with her because he wasn't her twin. He was just there as a placeholder to ready her for Harry. So the 5D, as we get into the 5D energy, because we've gone through the cards in the 4 and 5D, I mean the 3 and 4D, we get to the 5D of the big stuff happening. All right, so here's the Tower in the 5D on the Divine Feminine side, referencing big, the big stuff happening with drama and epiphanies and play and clearing the playing field. So big has to clear the playing field in order to get carry. In 5D, bridging the Divine Masculine, who's receiving one big download or upgrade here at the equinox. And as that comes in, we were also talking about, as my son was sitting here, he was calling this like a shooting star. Well, I said, we were talking about the meteor and the asteroid, the difference and that kind of stuff, because it's very subtle, because they're all the same. The asteroid is actually the piece of rock. It's a meteor when it hits the Earth's atmosphere, or the magnetic pole, and then it's only a meteorite if it actually hits the ground, because usually it disintegrates before it hits the ground. So the feminine, with the epiphanies and clearing the playing field in the 5D, is bridging the Divine Masculine, who's receiving his big downloads or upgrades, and through the shooting star, or the asteroid that becomes a meteor when it hits the Earth's magnetic field. And if it makes it to the ground without burning out, then it becomes the meteorite. And if not, it's a shooting star. So literally the meteor is a shooting star. A famous person who's losing it, all right, or fading away. So if it makes it to the ground without burning out, then it becomes a meteorite and can stay. Then it sticks. All right, I was just getting that now. I wasn't getting that before. So it's saying if it's big enough to make it from outer space to the ground, then it's strong enough to stay and stick. And that's like come together in the 3D. So at 1204 is the Hangman and the 4 of the Emperor. So we're still in the 5D here, as the 5D bridge is the Sovereign. This is the Sovereign here. And I wanted to show you the details of the Sovereign. I have my little stone. My daughter found this stone. It says, "You are not alone." All right, so here's this card, so you see all the details in it. Okay, so there's her transparent crystals and her purity, along with her guide, always close by, is the owl. Okay, so the 5D bridge is the Sovereign, with the wise counsel, pure in integrity. And so integrity breaks down as in TE, which is the moral human, in Confucius or Tao. So the moral humanness, or the righteous human, in their integrity. So in moral humanness, but can be gritty, right? The last part of integrity is gritty. In moral, righteous humans, or humanness, that can be gritty or uptight. The Sovereign is looking at all they've manifested, whether it's the masculine or the feminine, with self-worth and independence and stability they've created for themselves in the 3D world. Now that they're 3D pure, can they trust themselves enough to become 5D transparent? Can you be completely truthful with self? Can you give away or share some of your security without giving yourself away? Can you trust yourself? And I love that too, because they in the rehearsal dinner, when Sam was doing the toast, she said, and about getting carried away. Okay, so that was coming up here too. Can you give away or share some of yourself and your security without giving yourself away? Can you trust yourself to be honest, even if it hurts, or they don't like you for being honest? In order to trust each other fully as twins, because you are each other, you must both be fully honest with self, allowing for human error, to err on the side of self. and not them, because self is the whole, the connection to the collective consciousness or the Christ consciousness, as opposed to your other and what they tell you is right for you, when you know best. When someone is good to you, you naturally want to be good to them. When someone tries to force you to their way of thinking or force you to do something you don't want to do, we naturally reject or repel. Don't push me. Don't fence me in. I'll come around when I feel no pressure to cave. Pressure, guys, is a trigger. It's a defense mechanism. No one can put pressure on you. Only you can put pressure on yourself. No guilt, no shame. If they don't like it, they can walk. So you need to be able to stand in front of a person pressuring you without feeling pressured, because of course they can't pressure you. Of course, if they're irritating you or becoming more aggressive, you walk away. So you don't allow them to do something or force you. But not allowing is resistance or a block. Because when you are truly clear of all wounding, you can allow always, because your energy is pure and brings in no challengers. No one ever questions your motives when you're pure of wounds. No negative energy comes toward you. When you are able to weather the storm without protection or guards up, openly, with full trust and faith, nothing can harm you, because only you can harm you by not being love and not having trust and faith in self and universe, which is source, God, and love. When the earth is healthy and pure, there are no hits. All asteroids diminish before impact to field, or never even come close within the field. The purer you are in self-honesty and authenticity, which people get confused about what being authentic is. Authenticity is love, because your humanness is not real. Your love essence is the only thing that is real. Okay? So it's not to be overkind. You need to overcome the block to love by going into your humanness, your authenticity of humanness, which is the false, right? Because there's only really love. So as you're authentic to yourself and love yourself, no matter what state you're in, you go through quicker to get to the higher realms and back to that pure source love energy, not the woundedness. The woundedness is not you. The woundedness is all the crap in our auric layers and fields, in our chakra system. The more you draw into your life others who are pure of intent, right? So the clearer you are without the woundedness, the more authentic and pure, the more you will draw into your life others who are also pure of intent, who will resonate with you. But you should be only moving towards things when inspired by higher self, not forcing yourself to do anything, and then retreating from that inspiration for grounding and integrating and recharge of battery or energy levels with the sun, meditation, and fun, relaxation. Go with the flow, the less and less triggered you'll be, the more you'll connect accidentally. The ground moves you. Remember, and this is at 12:37 to 38, again, the King and Queen of Cups, remember the rook on the chessboard, the humble servant, like Cinderella, confined to their quarters. The king uses others to protect his ownership, his kingdom. Remember, the Holy Grail is the gold or the light on the inside, that the outside is natural, authentic earth because it's human. So now we're at 12:39, which is the Knight of Cups, the being of love, the light within, the lightning without. In 4D, the lightning grows vertically, but in the 5D, it grows even more across the land. Michael is well understood and well received and can reach far and wide, while Metatron rumbles and mumbles in the distance, right? The grumpy Taurus energy, the sound of silence and silent treatments. One strike in 4D, a bigger strike in 5D, and third strike, you're literally out of here. In 60, now you see me, and 70, now you don't. No strikes in 3D because human institutions control in the 3D, or control there. So strikes never last, right? Because there's pressure in the 3D, in our 3D level humanness. So the Divine Feminine in the 3D practices her new masculine abilities, right? Of doing her job or her mission work. In the 4D, with the world in her right hand, sharing the world in the face, or staring the world in the face and not backing down, not getting triggered, not feeling pushed, becoming fearless, as in the 5D, she epiphanizes and alchemizes, transmuting the fires as they come in one by one before they hit the ground, being the field that evaporates the asteroid as asteroid, acting as the toroidal field catcher, and throwing the fish back into the water. So she is the catcher and the thrower at the same time. The bridge here in the 3D is the castle, the bridge, and the moat, the buffers to the 3D world, the home, as 4D is separation, divided by nation, the lighthouse in the storm, lighting the way when things are the darkest, when only God, source, or love connects with you and nothing else, when you need to learn that you're not alone, as the 11th hour, the darkest hour of the quantum leap, taking you to another realm at the 12, the stroke of midnight, as the darkest hour before the dawn, right? The quantum leap is the 12, taking you to another realm at 12, the bewitching hour, bewitch, right? The bewitching hour when everyone is so distracted suddenly by other things, like crying, emergencies, kids, that while you get to the other side of the road, the divine causes a reset when you're not looking. The 13th hour is the after death. The beheading happens after the blade falls at 12. The wisdom is in the cut, the death and the aftermath, the falling out. The 5D is the sovereign, the human yet not human, perpetually connected to higher self, wise old owl in purity and transparency, or your twin. She brings the purity and he brings the integrity. She in the E tower, or the transmuter of energy exchange, which can be EE, and he receiving his big download to his crown to upgrade his thinking, the logical man in the bat cave, where she can accept his ideas and allow him into her body, in addition to her mind and soul, and come together in joy as 2, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, right? That's that high vibration. It's not the 0, 1, 0, 1 or the 1, 2, 1, 2. It's the 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, right? So you're always 2, but always constantly expanding slightly to the 3 and back. With this is then going out with the masculine energies here at the end. I'm sorry, you didn't see the first 3 cards. There's the truth, the Wheel of Fortune, and the 7 of Swords, the feminine coming in. And then going out here is the 3 of Cups, the Knight of Swords, and the 5 of Crystals. So in addition to, so now allowing him, the feminine, after all the trust issues have been created between them, now finding trust again, allowing him into her body in addition to her mind and soul, to come together in joy as 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, which is also the King of Wands, and the 3, 2 of the journey, with 5D messages only between them, as he says, well, maybe the Mary Magdalene cave isn't so bad, but it needs more lighting, so he doesn't trip up, losing his way, and going back to the dark group who will not accept her, which is, and which, calling her a witch, which is really his exile, not her exile back to the Mary Magdalene cave, because she's fine on her own. He with other cats, though, right now, he's telling you, he's with a cat group that's just like him at the moment, or like them, sending 5D messages to the Mary Magdalene cave at 111 in the E Tower, begging her to stay put. She feels his proposal, she just doesn't see it yet. So the Divine Masculine in the 3D proposal, slinging arrows of love in the 4D, which could also be seen as mud, like in elementary school, the fast-paced energy exchange to the E Tower, which converts energy into epiphanies and the gold coin. looking into transparency as he joins her there in the 2 cups. The divine masculine knight in the 5D armor sends, but in the Mary Magdalene cave, she stands in the 5 of crystals or pentacles, the crystal cave, no longer seeing the 3 of cups that are down in the 5 of cups card, right? Because you see 2 cups here. So normally in the 5 of cups, you'd see the 2 cups standing, but the 3 cups are knocked down. But you don't have that card here. There are no 3 cups knocked down. She's looking at the 5 pentacles here. So the 3 cups were down in the 5 of cups card, but the 3 of pentacles, you know, she's not worried about the 3 cups anymore. She's watching the 3 of pentacles that she must let go of in order to turn around and see through that thin wall between them. Here's the masculine sending her 5D messages, and here's her in the Mary Magdalene cave letting go, right? She's thinking about, can she let go of all she has? Can she share this and keep true to herself at the same time, right? So 3 cups down in the 5 of cups card, but the 3 of pentacles that she's now dealing with and must let go of in order to turn around. So she just turns around. She can see the 2 cups that are sitting right before her and see through that thin wall between them, where he is actually down on 1 or 2 knees, or actually sitting on his butt, as he holds up the 2 cups to her to have and to hold them, as he holds her up, addresses her. A dress is hers. So he may bring her a dress. And as the cave caves and the winter turns to spring and justice rings throughout the land, with truth and balance always prevailing or prevailing and unveiling, the 3 of cups has become 2 and word is coming. All right, so here's the final card was justice, so that has to do with, right, justice rings and prevails. So truth and balance will always prevail in this unveiling. So this is also, you see how it was paralleling the marriage and the honeymoon, right? Bringing the dress, making that offering, the ring, the veil, and the unveiling, which would be the honeymoon, okay? And then the 3 of cups has become 2, right? The 3 of cups card has become 2. One's been let go as the masculine sends word, but in the etheric realms, to the feminine, and she may be listening and feeling, but she needs to just turn around, like in that 5 of cups card, and see the 2 of cups that are right in front of her, right before her. So at the crystal cave here of the Mary Magdalene cave, it was 1:16 when a scam call came in, right? Because the dark is not your authentic self, and to not trust your twin or yourself is false because you are each other's self. The scam call and Percy was coming up, if that relates to anybody. But again, that's the one, it was at 1:16, which was perfect because this is my 16 tower E-tower read, and I added that 17th card today. So it's 1 and 16 in the Mary Magdalene cave, equaling 17, the star that you are. And then as I wrote turns to spring, it was 121, right? So as the cave caves or caves in, and the winter turns to spring, and justice rings throughout the land with truth and balance, which was at 122, so 121 to 122, which is the magician in the world, and completion. And completion, remember, is like the midnight. It's the quantum leap to the 22, because then you're already into the new cycle again, the Fool, with the open heart taking a leap of faith. The magician in completion at the quantum hour to the Fool of the 22, opening their heart and taking a leap of faith, and truth and balance always prevailing and unveiling, right? So you're always opening up more and more and more, just like the lotus flower. And the 3 of cups has become 2, and the word is now coming toward the divine feminine from the masculine. So this was this read. I'm going to end it here because I don't want to make it too long, and I am going to, and you see all the cards here, I am going to I think I'm going to do my masculine read here. I'm not sure yet. I just wanted to show you the underlying energy cards so you see them more closely. I put my little namaste on there, right? The feminine here, the 3D, these 3 cards, the 4D, the 5D, as I explained, and then the out from the masculine, and then the final card of justice. Rise and be loved, guys.